Hi everyone, welcome to the Asus TV accessory channel. Today, exclusively, we're going to show you the unboxing of the ROG Phone 8 Pro. We always have a very elegant box, a well-finished clean package. So, here we have the phone. Just below it, we have a little box with a little protective shell and the SIM card ejector, of course. Here's the little bumper box to put on top. Right here, we have the Aero Cooler carrying pouch. Here we have the Aero Cooler X, which is right here. Here, we have the 65W Type-C charger with its charging cable. Let's take the phone out. First of all, you can see that the Aero Cooler X has two physical buttons on the left and right. It no longer has a subwoofer inside, but on the other hand, it's much lighter and will certainly take up less space, obviously, when you wear it and play in docked mode for optimal cooling. So here's the ROG Phone 8 Pro in Phantom Black color, a much more mainstream, sober, and elegant design. As you can see, the contours are much more refined. The camera block is a little more imposing than on version 7, but all in all, we've gained a lot in terms of versatility and quality, and we can see that the finishes are really very clean. So, without further ado, we're off on our mission. So, a little action tutorial with the box. Following the unboxing, we're off. So, we're going to take what we're told to take right here. So we've still got the air triggers on the left and right here with the ROG inscription, which can of course be reassigned later in your games in particular. So far, so good. The grip is really top-notch. It's really a phone format console now. Well, from now on, I think that ROG phones have nothing to prove, but in any case, it feels really good every time. So he asks us to turn the phone over. We're going to insert it where he tells us to insert it, right here. This, I remind you, is with the Pro Edition. You have a small display behind the animated matrix, reminiscent of the Zephyrus G14. So as I said, the photo unit is a little bigger. There's a 50-megapixel main camera with gimbal stabilizer. Then there's a 32-megapixel telephoto camera with an X3 zoom, so up to X30 digitally, as you'll see later. And a 13-megapixel wide-angle camera, all on the rear with flash, of course. Not forgetting, of course, the front-facing camera seen here, at the top of the screen. As those of you who know the ROG Phone series know, photography was one of the weak points of the previous series, a weakness that seems to have been remedied this time around with this 8th edition. On the software side, we're on Android 14 with the ROG overlay, of course. Artificial intelligence functions also appear on the phone in general, and I'll come back to that later. So, this version of the ROG Phone 8, the ROG Phone 8 Pro, includes the Aero Cooler X that I showed you earlier. If you have the standard edition of the ROG Phone 8, the Aero Cooler X can be purchased separately. So for this edition, in terms of specs, we've got a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, so the very latest Snapdragon, and incidentally, the ROG Phone 8 is one of the first phones to come out on this platform. So on this one, we have an LTPO AMOLED screen up to 165 Hz, and we're on a 6.78-inch format, which is similar to the previous editions. So depending on the edition you have, here you can see that we have an edition with 1 terabyte of storage and 24 GB of RAM. That's it, for the Pro version. You can then have editions with 16 GB of RAM and 512 of storage, or, for the standard versions, 256 GB of storage and 12 GB of RAM in gray or black. This edition features a 5,500 mAh battery, divided into 2 cells on each side of the phone, as on previous editions. So to distribute the weight more evenly and to enable much faster charging, which is still impressive, given the size and weight of the phone, to have this kind of autonomy. And for the first time on a ROG phone, there's wireless charging. The Pro version of ROG Phone 8 includes a futuristic display on the back, as you can see right here, which is configurable by the way. So here you can configure the animated vision on the back of your ROG Phone 8 Pro right here, enable or disable certain notifications. Then also, if you want to customize the display, you can draw what you want to write something, whatever, that's up to you. It's all customizable. Also, for the first time in the ROG Phone series, the phone is IP68 certified, meaning that it is totally dustproof and waterproof to over 1 meter for 1 hour. So that's really top-notch protection. Now, I wouldn't advise you to try and throw your phone in the pool or in the water, of course, but in any case, if it should happen by accident, you should know that the phone is very well insulated. So, as I said at the beginning, we have the appearance of artificial intelligence on this ROG Phone series thanks to the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. There you go. For example, for your photos, you can search as shown here for this year in Italy, and the phone pulls up all the photos taken that year when you were geo-located in Italy. The same applies to phone settings and applications. If you're looking for a travel application, for example, you enter travel, and the phone will pull up all the applications that are in any way related to travel applications. So, as I said earlier, we have this new 50-megapixel photo sensor. As for video, we can now record 8K videos at 24 frames per second right here, or 4K videos at 30 or 60 frames per second. You can select them here. And as for the telephoto lens, which I mentioned earlier, as I said, you can zoom in up to 3 times. That is a 30-time zoom with an optical zoom, which is quite sharp. We can also record at 4K 120 frames per second in slow motion, or in 1080p at 240 or 120 frames per second, or even in 720p with 480 frames per second. And there, you have really good slow motion. In terms of weight, this year's ROG Phone 8 weighs just 225 grams, which is much lighter in the hand, I think, than the Edition 7. So, let's launch Genshin Impact and show you how it works. No problems with latency, image loss, or anything else. Anyway, we're on a gaming smartphone, so that's what we're here for, very clearly, and you can feel it very clearly. So we're going to test the mobile tool a little to show you how it works. You can open Game Genie right here. A very cool new feature, by the way, is that when you're in the game, downloading an update or whatever, if you want to go back to your phone and do something else while it's downloading, you can just scroll down right here, activate background mode, and start what will allow the game to continue running in the background. And while it's running, you can go to TikTok, go to our site, whatever. Then you can come back to the game without losing your progress. Still 60 FPS, very decent GPU-CPU utilization. This is truly a phone, even a high-performance mobile smartphone console, where everything has been designed with gaming in mind. You can, of course, reassign air triggers left and right for different actions. We're talking Call of Duty here, but for example, you can aim to the left and shoot to the right depending on the game you're playing. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you'd like to order it, it's available now on the official Asus website. You'll find links in the description for spare parts for the Pro and Standard available on our website. I'll see you soon for another unboxing. I'm going to play a few games with this new smartphone console. See you later.